My insane future mother-in-law threw my engagement ring down the drain and then tried to attack me, getting herself arrested. My fiancé is begging me not to press charges. The day I met my boyfriend's mother, she was extremely rude to me, fat-shaming me despite the fact I am of a very normal BMI, and insulting me to the point I cried. I left the house when she did that, but my boyfriend stayed behind. He texted me and apologized for his mother's behavior, and also told me what had happened when I left. He told me that he absolutely went off on her for her behavior. He called her a stuck-up, self-serving, arrogant woman who would rather tear down the woman that his son is in love with than support her. That she is so selfish, she cannot bear the thought of another female getting his attention, and that she insane need to always go out of her way to absolutely destroy every relationship he has. He told her that she has once more chance, and if she does not change her ways, he will be cutting contact with her. This was all what he said to me. Before this, I really was not sure whether or not I wanted to continue the relationship, but with this reassurance that his mother would not bother me again, I decided to give it another chance. Fast forward 2 weeks to when he invited me to come to a family birthday party and meet his mother a second time. This time, I would also be meeting his sisters and grandparents. His grandparents and sisters are awesome people. They asked me normal questions about my job, family, and friends. His mother seemed to be avoiding me throughout the evening, and honestly, I was okay with that. I went to grab something from my purse and noticed that it was not where I left it. I looked everywhere, but I could not find it. I went and asked my boyfriend, and he began to help me look. He then got a strange look on his face, and he quickly went upstairs. I could then hear a lot of yelling begin upstairs. He came back down holding my purse after a few minutes and told me that we were leaving. Once we got in the car, I asked him what was going on. His mother had taken my purse so that she could see my driver's license. She intended to try and run a background check on me. He told me she had told him this earlier, but honestly had thought she was joking. I thought that it was best if I avoided any of his family functions for the time being. This worked out great for a while, and he went to any of his family parties alone. He would ask me each time before leaving if I was sure that I didn't want to go, but I always declined. At this point, I had started noticing that the things my boyfriend said to his mother about not allowing her to disrespect me again were not really lining up with his actions. I kept this thought in mind and started paying attention. Well, last week his family had their family reunion, and he asked me to please come with him. I was very reluctant, but considering there would be so many people present, I didn't think she would pull anything. When we got there, everything was going great. I met his extended family and got to catch up with his sisters. His mother did seem to be shooting me death glares all night, but I brushed it off. Soon she came over and joined a table I was seated at with his sisters and some cousins. The conversation was pleasant. His sister has a cousin who is 18 and is the same age as my niece. I actually showed his sister a picture of my niece on my phone. His mother took a look at the screen and began to laugh. She told me she hopes that if me and her son ever have children, that they don't look like my niece. This was my breaking point, and I went off like a volcano. I started to scream at her and told her she is the most evil person I have ever had the disadvantage of meeting. I told her if I ever did have children with her son, she can be certain she will never meet them, because hell is too far to travel to. I am not 100% certain exactly everything that I said, but from what his younger sister later said, it was epic. She began to play the victim and wailed that I had just misunderstood her joke. My boyfriend came rushing over at this point, and she threw herself into his arms, telling him I am a horrible woman and he needed to throw me out right now. He told her that wasn't going to happen and to stop making a fool of herself. She seemed to accept this for a moment and sat back down. She just kept sobbing that I just didn't understand how to take a joke. Then something in her snapped as she noticed something that my boyfriend was holding in his hand and began to have another meltdown. I didn't understand what was happening at this point and just stood there watching a grown woman pitch a fit like a toddler. None of what she was saying made any sense to me, as it was mostly just incoherent screaming, but I did pick up on many derogatory comments directed my way. My boyfriend then told me we were leaving and told me to grab my things. As I started to get ready, my future mother-in-law made a lunge for my boyfriend's hand and grabbed the small box he was holding. She then looked me in the eyes and said, "You will never have this ring, you little beach." She ran outside and threw the box down a storm drain. Turns out that my boyfriend was intending on proposing to me. He had just obtained his grandmother's ring while we were at the reunion. His grandmother is completely heartbroken because now her ring is down a storm drain instead of continuing on in the family as she had always wanted. I don't know where to go from here. Update. Unfortunately, the engagement ring could not be found. The city came out to try and assist, but they could not uncover anything. My fiancé and his family were devastated by this, and many of them have ceased communication with their mother-in-law because of this. The ring had high significance in the family, more than I understood. This was literally the straw that broke the camel's back for many of the family members. His sisters have chosen to keep contact with future mother-in-law, and one of them told me that she is playing the victim card, that she is saying she had a mental break, and we all need to be more compassionate and understanding of her. I call this total crap, and I know she knew exactly what she was doing when she threw the ring down the storm drain. I have a theory that the ring never went down the drain to begin with. I think that maybe she hid the ring somewhere on herself and threw the box down the drain. I have no way to prove this, but I have expressed this concern to my fiancé and his family. It's a rather large house though, and could be hidden anywhere. I don't think the ring will be found anytime soon if this was what happened. On a happier note, I am now engaged to my fiancé. My engagement ring does not have the same sentimental value as the other ring, but I love my new ring just the same. I am very happy to be engaged, and I cannot wait to spend my life with my fiancé. My fiancé is on low contact now with his mother, but word has reached her that we are engaged. After she found out, she apparently refused to leave her room for 3 days. She refused to speak to anyone or eat any food. The drama of this woman is unbelievable to me. Soon after I was told about about her condition, I started receiving a lot of strange emails and phone calls. I started getting phone calls from strange men asking me to perform a variety of different intimate things for them. Obviously, I was modified by this and immediately changed my phone number. I told my fiancé what had happened, and he thinks that someone must be giving out my number to men they meet by mistake. I didn't believe that, so I did a Google search of my phone number and found a few Craigslist ads written about me. The descriptions are just too similar to my appearance. They even mention my red hair. I truly believe this is future mother-in-law doing this. She knows how to post on Craigslist as she sells a lot of used things online. I have also mysteriously been signed up for a variety of different dating sites and corn sites. If this is future mother-in-law, then I just don't know when she is going to stop. This is a low level to drop to, and I cannot believe how pitiful this woman is. I showed this all to my fiancé and told him about my suspicions. He doesn't think his mother has the tech savvy to be able to pull this off. Then, what he said next chilled me to my bones, as I thought his older sister liked me. He said his older sister had mentioned that to maintain a healthy relationship, you should be checking your partner's phone daily. She proceeded to tell him there should be no secrets, and I shouldn't have a problem showing him my phone when he got home. I was going to ask his sisters to be at my bridal party, and now I don't even know where I stand with them. Do they hate me too? What in the hell did I do to deserve this? Update 2. My fiancé went no contact with his mother after everything that happened. This lasted all about a week before she showed up banging at our door. My fiancé was at work, and I was alone at home at the time. She was wailing that she was sorry and just wanted to see me to apologize. Since I have neighbors who were beginning to watch this spectacle, I let her inside to talk. At first, she was very apologetic and said she just wants to have a fresh start. She was pretty convincing, and I was actually considering just letting it all go. That's when she saw my Christmas tree and all hell broke loose yet again. She began to scream that I was a heretic who was now allowed to celebrate Christmas because only Christians could. I kindly asked her to please leave and that she was not welcome here, but she was not budging. She told me that no son of hers would ever celebrate Christmas with a heretic and proceeded to run towards the tree. She began tearing off every ornament and throwing them, leaving them smashed on the floor. I have many childhood and family ornaments on my tree that are very precious to me. Several were smashed in her rampage. I had to grab her and physically drag her away. This ended with her socking me several times and biting me on my hand. I finally was able to throw her out the front door and grabbed my phone to call the police. She proceeded to scream like a banshee out front and call me every name in the book. The police arrived soon after, and just like that, she completely stopped her fit and began to try and play the victim. She told the police that I was an intruder in her son's apartment and that I had attacked her. The police had arrived with an ambulance, which was promptly taken to because she was feeling faint and was in distress. The police then came to interview me, and I told them what had actually happened. I showed them the bite mark on my hand and the bruises that were beginning to form. My fiancé arrived at the scene and immediately came to my side. He confirmed to the officers that I do live there, and his mother is a nutcase. Seeing that her son was siding with me, sent her into yet another tantrum. The police asked me if I would like to place charges against my future mother-in-law. I looked to my fiancé and I could tell that he was conflicted on what to do. I had to do what would make me feel safe in the end, and I decided to place charges. Future mother-in-law was first taken to the hospital and then arrested upon her release. She is now facing charges for assault, and I have taken a restraining order against her. This has placed a serious strain on my relationship with my fiancé. He and the rest of his family want me to drop the charges against his mother. He tells me that since I have a restraining order, she can no longer come near me, so I have nothing to worry about. I don't think he fully understands how terrifying this experience was for me. He tells me that it is my decision in the end, and he will stand by me, but he doesn't want to see his mother go to prison. Update 3. When I got home that day after my mother-in-law assaulted me, my mother took one look at me and was furious. I had a black eye and bruises. I declined the ambulance and went straight to my parents. My mom led me to my bed and made me a cup of tea. Then she just kept asking, who did this? She thought it was my ex, but when I told her the truth, she was even more furious. I explained everything to her that had happened and told her all the details. She calmed me down and left to go make me some food, but she actually left the house. A few hours later, she came back. She had what she called her trophy, which is actually a large clump of my future mother-in-law's hair. She actually put it in a memory box. After that, I got a call from my ex, and he just screamed at me. Mom took the call and told him never to contact me again, or he will get the same treatment that was given to me. He has not contacted me since. Edit. I left my fiancé after everything happened, and I was heartbroken. A few days after leaving and staying with my parents, I found out the news. I am pregnant. I came to the apartment to tell him the news, and his mother was there, and he decided to side with her. She screamed the loudest banshee scream I have ever heard. She told me I need to get a termination immediately. I told her that I would not do that. She lunged at me, but I managed to get out of the house. I don't know what to do.